UFC Fight Night, Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley just took place. It was a very weird card. There were some finishes that I really liked, and then there were some fights that I went like, "Why the fuck am I watching this?" But regardless, I'm gonna review every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelims and ending with the main event. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. All right, we got the first fight of the night: Jamie Lynn Horth versus Vanessa Demopulus. I don't know how Vanessa Demopulus is still in the UFC at this point. She doesn't pose anything threatening. Jamie Lynn Horth was able to comfortably pick Vanessa Demopulus up at range. I think this accounts for Demopulus's third or fourth loss in a row. I think it's very clear that she's not UFC caliber. As for Jamie Lynn Horth, uh, I guess it was all right. She just used her frame and range to piece up Vanessa Demopulus. But I'm gonna be real, this fight was kind of mid because I was expecting Jamie Lynn Horth to get a finish at some point. Unfortunately, Horth does not have a lot of finishing potential. But I guess Jamie Lynn Horth wins the fight 29-28 or 30-27, I believe. So good for her. All right, moving on, we got Phil Rowe versus Ans Loosa. Phil Rowe, nasty KO over Ans Loosa. Not gonna lie, I thought Phil Rowe was gonna throw this one. Round one, I think it was kind of close before Ans Loosa shot a takedown and then proceeded to smudge Phil Rowe up against the canvas. Round two, Phil Rowe was winning until he decided to exchange in the pocket with Ans Loosa and got dropped in that round. And then round three, Phil Rowe decides to say fuck it. He put it all on the line and he destroyed Ans Loose's chin. Someone get this guy a dentist at this point because that shit was fucking nasty, especially with no mouth guard. I think congrats to Phil Rowe. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get a like a performance bonus because there weren't that many to go to. Like there were a couple, but let's be real, UFC, there were not that many performance bonus worthy fights. But I guess Phil Rowe, good for him. He gets to keep his job. As for Anj Lusa, tough for him, but I think he's gonna get cut from the UFC very soon. Now, moving on to Ricky Simone versus Cameron Smotherman. Ricky Simone, just out wrestled Cameron Smotherman. Smotherman like has never seen jujitsu or wrestling in a day of his life, and Ricky Simone was able to maintain top control for rounds one and two. He did gas out a little bit, and that's when Smotherman started to pick his shots better. But by then it was too late, and it kind of made it clear that Smotherman does not have that much outside of his boxing. The rest of his game, it just needs a lot of work. But Ricky Simone, he wins this fight 29-28 decision. It could have been better, but I guess Ricky Simone got the job done. All right, now moving on, Cody Durden versus Jose Ochoa. Nasty KO from Jose Ochoa. I went with Cody Durden with this fight. Unfortunately, Jose Ochoa is just too clean on the feet. And Cody Durden, yeah, I think he was able to get the wrestling going, but he wasn't able to establish any sort of dominant position over Jose Ochoa. Round one, I think Cody Durden kind of edged it out by just smudge grappling for like 2.5 minutes. But then round two, Jose Ochoa came in blitzing forward and just knocked out Cody Durden 11 seconds into the second round. Again, nasty performance for Jose Ochoa. Should be getting a performance bonus, but I guess congrats to Jose Ochoa. How good is Loner Kavanaugh? But I guess for Cody Durden, this is tough. He lost four in a row by now, and I think it's clear that Cody Durden, uh, he should be cut from the UFC. Now moving on, Malcolm Wallmaker versus Chris Moutinho. Malcolm Wallmaker, nasty KO, knocks out Chris Moutinho in the first round. Now Dana White, listen to me when I say this, you bald fuck. Promote Malcolm Wallmaker. Unlike Sean O'Malley, all of the fans love Malcolm Wallmaker. Malcolm Wallmaker has what it takes to become a potential superstar, as long as Dana White actually does his job and promote Malcolm Wellmaker and give him the right matchups. I think if Malcolm Wellmaker just I don't know fights like two more times this year and the UFC give him like some time to develop, I think we can see this guy challenge for a ranking spot very soon. And who knows, he might be top 10, top 5 caliber. I know that's a little bit far reached, but so far he's looked so impressive. a right hook knockout over Cameron Simon, and then right hook knockout over Chris Moutinho, who everyone thought had an iron chin. So congrats to Malcolm Wallmaker. Definitely deserves the performance bonus. And UFC, please promote this guy because he can be a potential superstar. Now, moving on, we got Michael Chiesa versus Court McGee. Right as we had Malcolm Wellmaker put on that absolute masterclass over Chris Moutinho, we get two unks who are training cardio kickboxing twice a week, trying to spar each other. Uh, Nothing real to write about. I guess Chiesa used his range to slightly outstrike Court McGee, and then Court McGee was able to keep up on the numbers by looking aggressive. I don't know. There's nothing to really write about this fight other than the fact that these are two old guys that look like shit because both of them are like mid jujitsu practitioners with shit striking that rely on their grappling. So I think I don't know. Cut Court McGee. Like, I don't think Michael Case is all that good, to be honest, because I was expecting a more dominant performance over Court McGee, but I guess Chiesa still won the fight, and he's on a three-fight win streak. S- We could potentially see Chiesa in the rankings in 2025. Crazy to say, but I don't know. I guess congrats to Michael Chiesa because I don't know. There's nothing right else to talk about this fight. All right, moving on. Paul Craig versus Adolfo Bolato. This was a weird fight. I think round one, like even before the stoppage, which we'll get to in a second, it was like Bolato was slightly outworking Paul Craig. Like Paul Craig had success on the feet. And I say that very lightly, but still, the fact that Bolato made Paul Craig look competent is kind of concerning. But then towards the end of the first round, Paul Craig pulls guard, and Rodolfo Balato, for some dumbass reason, enters into the guard of Paul Craig, and then Paul Craig just using the little brother technique where they're just kicking up in the air every time you try to smother them. And then Paul Craig up kicks Rodolfo Balato, and Balato, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was trying to milk a disqualification loss or he was actually hurt. Like it was a very weird acting, but at the same time, like it is technically illegal. I don't know why you would do that though. Like it's fucking Paul Craig. Paul Craig can't hurt a fly. I don't know why Rodolfo Bolato even took the D tried to take a DQ loss against Paul Craig because Paul Craig's not good. Outside of his jiu-jitsu, what is Paul Craig good at? I think that kind of speaks to how shit Rodolfo Balato is. But I don't know. I'd say cut Balato or give him someone who's very difficult. But either way, I think it's clear to the UFC that Balato is not very good. Now moving on, we got Alonzo Menifield versus Omar Sy. This was a terrible fight. Like just when I thought Michael Chiesa versus Court McGee was awful, here come in these two bumbling idiots, just shadow boxing out of range. Like the WMMA fights on this card were way more exciting than watching these two retards go at it. Uh, I guess Manyfield won. Like I've seen Manyfield like kind of swing aggressively to outland Omar Sy in like rounds what 1 and 2. I can't even remember much about this fight other than the fact that Omar Sy he held up Manyfield against the cage. And when they were on the feet together, Alonzo Manyfield just threw the retard hooks. Meanwhile, Omar Sy's like throwing like 5 punches per 5 minutes. It was a very weird fight, a very shit fight, and it was much worse than the Michael Chiesa versus Court McGee fight. So yeah, please cut both of them, UFC, and please remove Alonzo Manyfield from the rankings at least. Now, moving on, Mansour Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. This was a relatively disappointing performance. I know Mansour Abdul Malik got the third round win, but we'll get to that in a second because the Cody Brundage once again pulling an Anthony Smith level masterclass and just quitting in at the first sign of adversity. I thought Cody Brundage was winning the first 2 rounds. He was minorly outlanding Mansour Abdul Malik. And then in the third round, Brundage got hit with a headbutt, and Abdul Malik just won a headbutt TKO off that win. I mean, the UFC just ruled it a decision. Uh, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I thought Malik was gonna get a first round win, but no, Abdul Malik, he's not very good. He still has time to develop. He's like what, 22, 23 years old, but Abdul Malik is not very good. I think that's what I took more than anything from this fight. And also cut Cody Brundage from the roster. He pulled this bullshit off like 3 times already. Now moving on, Cody Garbrandt versus Raoni Barcelos. Raoni Barcelos wins a 29-28 decision. Round one, Cody Garbrandt looked sharper on the feet than Barcelos. I think he almost wobbled and dropped Barcelos at one point. I'm not entirely sure, but it was clear that Garbrandt had the faster hands and just the overall more explosive striking. But round two, Barcelos just started using his grappling, and Cody Garbrandt couldn't really get out of many positions there. Like he didn't get ragdolled like a Peyton Talbot, but Tony Barcelos was able to maintain dominant position throughout the majority of the grappling exchanges. And I know in the third round, Garbrandt like briefly reversed position, but I think it was too late by then. But Raoni Barcelos wins the fight 29-28 decision. Very interesting considering I thought Barcelos would be shooting takedowns more, but I guess Barcelos isn't really that much of a grappling threat. I guess Garbrandt, like his hands are still good. It's just that like his jujitsu, it just needs some work. But either way, Hani Barcelos gets the job done, 29-28, as I thought it would. Now moving on, Edmond Shabbazian versus Andre Petroski. Now I picked Edmond Shabbazian to win the fight, but I thought it was going to happen via round 1 KO. Little did I know that Edmond Shabbazian actually has cardio now. Either that or Andre Petroski is really shit, because for 3 rounds, Edmond Shabbazian picked apart Andre Petroski. Edmond Shabbazian rounds 1 and 2 was landing the cleaner shots as Andre Petroski tried to use the ooga booga and tried to dash in without really using any sort of head movement. And in the third round, Edmund Shabazian did start to slow down, but Petroski really couldn't muster any offense whatsoever. Like round three, he's still going to fainting as if that's gonna work. Like brother, you need a knockout. Go in there and start swinging meaty hooks. But either way, Edmund Shabazian gets the job done 3-0, 30-27. Not what I expected, but I guess I'll take it considering Edmund Shabazian. He typically loses a majority of the decisions he goes against wrestlers, but I guess now Edmund Shabazian. All right, good stuff from him. Now moving on, Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick. Now this was actually a really fun fight, and I gotta apologize for Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick because I thought this was gonna be terrible. But Rose Namajunas just outclassed Miranda Maverick. Landed the cleaner shots in round one, and then round two used her jujitsu to control majority of the fight. And then round three dropped Miranda Maverick. There were some moments where Maverick was able to find success. Like in round two, she was landing some nasty ground and pound after reversing position towards the like later half of the round. And round one, she did land some of her shots, but I think Rose Namajunas was able to get majority of the control of the fight. And I think Rose Namajunas looked pretty good. You know, I guess the only problem I see for her in this weight class is the physicality because she tried some like takedowns against Miranda Maverick other than the high crotch, and a lot of them seem to be failing because Miranda Maverick was able to hold herself up against the fence using her strength. But either way, it was a solid performance. You know, this could have ended a lot worse. This could have ended like Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza for all I care. But this was a relatively entertaining fight. So congrats to Rose Namajunas. Now moving on to the main event, we got Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley. Unfortunately, Kamaru Usman won against Joaquin Buckley, and we're never gonna see Buck versus Cuck anymore against Ian Machado Gary. Kamaru Usman dominated the first 4 rounds. Just took down Joaquin Buckley at will. The one thing I took away from this fight was how shit is Colby Covington because Colby Covington, as the Division One wrestler, couldn't do shit. So I'm genuinely surprised that Colby Covington had little to no success with wrestling, but I guess Kamaru Usman was able to make light work of Buckley for 4 rounds. Round five, Buckley was able to piece up Usman on the feet, but I think it was too late by then, and Kamaru Usman was able to win this fight 49-46. Uh, I really wanted Buckley to win, and it's not just because I wanted to see him fight Ian Gary. Like I think Buckley is really good. Uh, it's just that he doesn't have the wrestling compared to that of a Kamaru Usman. I mean, I was kind of worried about this, but I thought like if anyone was gonna out wrestle Joaquin Buckley, I thought it was gonna be a Shavkat Rakhmonov or like a Sean Brady, who's like in their prime, like maybe have a frame advantage over Joaquin Buckley. I just didn't expect this from Kamaru Usman, but Usman looked pretty good. His cobblestone wobblestone knees didn't give in, and also Joaquin Buckley just stayed in a lot more bottom position than I thought he would. I guess there's nothing to take away from Kamaru Usman. He won the fight fair and square. Joaquin Buckley. It was kind of disappointing. I was rooting for him, but there's nothing I can do. Kamaru Usman won the first 4 rounds, and unfortunately, I don't think Joaquin Buckley is getting a jump up in the rankings anytime soon. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. Leave a comment down below how you would have rated uh UFC Atlanta overall. I'd say this is around like a 5 or 6 card. Like there were some fights on the prelims that were amazing, and then as we got closer and closer to the main card, the fights turned shit. Especially in the main card, a lot of the fights were pretty shit, other than the co-main event. But yeah, other than that, just leave a comment down below what ideas you want to see me make next. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.